Hello people, this is Sonali, the Melodramatic Bookworm. If you've been here before, welcome back, and if you're new to my channel, welcome to the Melodramatic Bookworm family. I'm here today to talk to you about short stories. The thing about short stories is that is how we start off reading. Like the stories that are told to us in our childhood, they are short stories because they begin and end in a short period of time, and they encompass a whole world within themselves, and they are great for people with shorter attention spans or for beginners who want to dive into the world of reading. And if you start off with a short story, more often than not you're going to get hooked because you are getting a closure within that short period of time, and it will give you that satisfaction, and slowly and gradually you will move on to longer stories, and you will move on to reading longer books and more complicated books, and that is how your whole love for reading can be nourished. So that's where you start off. And even if you are an experienced reader, short stories are amazing for when you don't have the time to get into a longer story. But there's an alternative way of reading short stories, which is listening to short story audiobooks, which will make your job a lot more easier, and it will help you consume more stories. You get to live that whole life, which I did very recently. I will tell you more about it in the next few minutes. In today's video, I have some amazing short story recommendations for you. There are 7 short stories that I will be talking about in today's video, and these are available on the Storytel app. You can listen to these audiobooks anytime, anywhere, be it while you're commuting or when you are doing your chores at home, when you are exercising, or when before going to bed, or while you're doing grocery shopping. So you can incorporate audiobooks and listening to these audiobooks into your life and into your way of consuming stories, which will make doing even the most mundane of things so much more fun. So add some fun to your life and get a Storytel subscription, because Storytel has many short stories as audiobooks, and they are available in multiple languages. And once you have a monthly subscription, you can listen to any number of audiobooks in a month, and the subscription for it is just 299 rupees. And I will leave the link to buying the subscription in the description box below. Don't forget to go check it out. I'll tell you why I got looking for short stories in the first place. I was heading towards a massive reading slump. Then I really wanted something short that would hold my attention. So I got scrolling on Storytel across genres, and I found some amazing gems which I listened to over the past couple of weeks, which I really want to share with you. And I did have a really fun time listening to these short stories, which were ranging from, the shortest one was 3 minutes long and the longest one was 55 minutes long, which I will talk to you in detail as we go on. So yeah, without any further ado, let's dive right into this recommendations list, and let me share with you the 7 short stories that I listened to as audiobooks on Storytel, and which really helped me come back from that reading slump cliff. The first short story that I listened to is a classic, and it's called The Gift of the Magi by O. Henry. This particular audiobook that I listened to was narrated by Benaifer Mirza, and it is about 15 minutes long. And Benaifer Mirza brings to life O. Henry's classic short story about love and appreciation, and irrespective of how foolish and impulsive they might seem. This is the story of Della, who has just under $2 to get her husband Jim a Christmas present, and she still hasn't gotten one. This is on Christmas Eve. And while she's thinking, she turns and finds herself looking at herself in the mirror, and she has this amazing idea, and she gets ready and goes out on a quest to get this particular gift for her husband. And in a classic O. Henry sort of way, the twist that comes at the end is absolutely heartwarming. It's honestly a delight to read, and the first time I read it was way back when. I think I was in school when I read it, and this story has filtered down through the ages. The love that Della and Jim had for each other and why they actually did what they did, and even now I feel it even more of a heartwarming gesture on both of their parts. But listening to the audiobook and Benaifer Mirza's narration made it into an even lovelier experience. I was in that room with Della as she stood there and tried to decide what gift to give her husband, and I watched as Della and Jim exchanged presents, and I watched as love grew. Benaifer Mirza's narration is filled with love, excitement, romance, and hope, and so much more that it makes this already beautiful story into an even more beautiful experience altogether. It's a must listen. The second short story audiobook that I listened to is the shortest among all of these. It is called A Love Letter from Lewis Carroll to Gertrude. Rahul Bose narrates a love letter that Lewis Carroll wrote to a woman named Gertrude. And it's such a roundabout way of showing your love, and you don't understand in the beginning what's going on. But then again, when you do, and when I did understand what was going on, it sort of put the biggest, silliest, goofiest grin on my face. This little love letter is wonderful, and Rahul Bose's narration, which I feel like I've been doing a lot of fangirling over the past few weeks, and his narration makes this sweet little love letter into an even sweeter experience. He brings that love, he brings that romance by narrating a love letter that was written in a year far gone by, long ago. And all I can say is that I loved this little short story audiobook, and I would highly recommend that you listen to it too. It's great, it's sweet, it's short, and it has Rahul Bose's narration. The next short story that I listened to as an audiobook on Storytel is a translated story called The Final Accounting. That was originally written by Rabindranath Tagore and has been translated into English and narrated by Alka Sharma. It's about 19 minutes long, and I'm so glad that I found this, and I can't believe that it has been out of my knowledge for all this while. This is a story of Nirupama, whose father goes into debt to get her married, but you know, the dictates of society, especially during those times, it was such that her treatment at her in-laws' place wasn't good. They didn't treat her well because her father was not able to pay her dowry on time. This follows a number of incidents in Nirupama's life, and it shows the thinking of the people around her. During those times, people were not that forward thinking, and when she takes a stand, how societal norms act against her and her father. And there's so much more to this short story. There's so much packed in there. It's there out there for everybody to understand, but it also is there in the undertone for how women were treated because their parents, their father could not give dowry. It will make you think about how societal norms were back then, and it will make you think about how society treated women and how it still treats women. It also makes you wonder whether society was made by man, or does society make a man. It makes you wonder a lot of things. It makes you question certain things. And Alka Sharma's narration of this short story will make you appreciate the social commentary that is Rabindranath Tagore's storytelling even more. Like, he is a classic. He is someone who cannot be touched. But Alka Sharma's narration does enhance that story a little bit more. And since it is told in Alka Sharma's impeccable matter-of-fact manner, it turns the story into an even more chilling, angering story than if it were to be if you were to read it. And because this book is so heavy, the short story that we're talking about, it's short, like 19 minutes only, but I knew that certain things would make me so angry. So I used the bookmark feature. So whenever I used to get full worked up, I used to bookmark it at this particular place and exit the app, go take my time off, and then come back to the app and open the bookmarks and start listening to where I left off. Storytel makes this that much easier, and I absolutely love that feature because you can use this for such heavy books. You can always take pause, go do something else, relax, or do anything else, and then come back and pick up right where you left off. Again, The Final Accounting by Rabindranath Tagore, narrated by Alka Sharma. Please go ahead and listen to it. Highly recommend. It's amazing. Next is a short story that took me completely by surprise, and this audiobook is called Sherlock in the Bus, which is a Storytel original, and this has been written by Amol Raikar and narrated by Elvis Matthias. And this is just 9 minutes long. Okay, so Vijay is standing in an overcrowded bus stop waiting for a bus, and the bus is here and the crowd is about to go onto the bus. It's at that time that Vijay feels someone stealing his phone from his pocket. He has a suspicion on this particular person and he approaches that person. The crowd has pushed him and the suspect onto the bus, but Vijay has now approached the suspect and he is accusing him and all of that, but the suspect is like, no, I didn't do anything, it's not here. If you want, you can check my bag, you can check my pockets. Vijay checks his pockets and all of this thing happens, and now he realizes that that guy was not the guy who did it, and now he's on this quest to find out before his stop comes who on the whole bus has stolen his phone. And it's this whole journey that is so unexpected. It will just be over before you know it. You're listening to it, this narrator telling you, and it's like, yes, I get it, maybe it's this one, maybe it's it feels like you're there. Elvis Matthias does a great job in doing that, in transporting you into that overcrowded bus. I just got pulled into it. Like, I was there in that bus and helping Vijay find his phone. Like, maybe I could be his Watson. But no, that was not supposed to be, because I was sitting in my house and I was listening to this audiobook. And the best part is, a small audiobook like this, it gets politically and morally thick. There's so much to unpack about human nature as well as even Indian politics as a whole. Plus, it feels like the narrator, Elvis Matthias' narration is so loud and clear that it reaches your conscience, and I didn't think that was possible. How? So basically what I'm trying to say is that this Storytel original is great. So, and if you're looking for a detective-ish story with a moral message, then this is definitely one that you can try, and I am sure that you will like it. Next is another classic, and that is A Scandal in Bohemia by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and the audiobook that I listened to was narrated by Sanket Mhatre, and this is about 53 minutes long, not 55 as I remember it to be somehow, but 53 minutes long. And I loved revisiting this story. Like, Sherlock Holmes is such a classic detective. He is one of the first detectives that the world was introduced to, and to read his eccentricities and to read his methods of deductions, it was always a great way of inserting oneself into a mystery or a thriller book that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle had the absolute creativity to bring out to all of us. And to listen to it was an even better experience. To listen to Sanket Mhatre narrating the story of Sherlock Holmes helping the King of Bohemia avoid a scandal on the eve of just before his marriage, and to stop Irene Adler from releasing any photos that she has of herself and the king, and to see him being the ingenious, eccentric, an absolute genius that he is. It was really fun to listen to as well. And because I actually know the story, it was fun to see in what way the story would be enhanced. Sanket Mhatre's narration of the story brings a different way of looking at what exactly transpired, because it's someone else telling you the story of a story that I already knew. So it was great. I highly recommend. Next up is a short story audiobook called You, Me and Tara, written by Nikita Singh and narrated by Soumya Tandon, and this audiobook is about 44 minutes long. It's a Storytel original, and I listened to this last night and it was great. This is more into the romance genre, and I wasn't expecting this to turn out the way it did, and The thing was, I was having internet problems yesterday, so when I had the chance, I used the download feature, the offline download feature on Storytel's app, and it was of huge help because not just 10 minutes into the book, the internet was gone. It has not come back till now. So I feel like the offline download feature that Storytel has, it's such a great way of ensuring that you have your audiobooks at all times. You have it handy. You don't have to rely on the internet to keep you entertained. So all you have to do is just hit the download button, and Storytel will download this for you, and you can listen to it even without internet. And I feel like that's a godsend, honestly. But this particular audiobook that I listen to is the story of Alicia, who downloads the Bumble BFF app. It's for finding friends, and she goes to meet this woman called Tara, and they hit it off. They have a great conversation and all, but when Tara is leaving, she kisses Alicia on the lips. Alicia is taken aback because all she was looking for was a friend. She tells Manav about this. When this Tara comes into their life and shows Alicia a different way of looking at things, that sort of settles into Alicia's mind even more. And there's this one particular experience that the three of them go through that sort of unravels the whole thing. What exactly will happen and what ends up happening forms the entire story. And right from the very beginning, I was a little shaken up. But when you see the wedding jitters and when you see the age gap between Alicia and Tara, and how Alicia sort of in a very small way envies the younger woman, it is rather understandable in some ways. Like what happened exactly, because that quest for exploring, even though it's not in the best way possible or even in a right way, that quest for exploring is always there in the human psyche. But then again, Soumya Tandon's narration is great. She brings out all the nuances. She changes tactics. She changes the voice inflections with every person that she is narrating the dialogues of, and I know that she is a good actress, and now I've realized that she's a good narrator as well. And she has brought such a deceptively light story into my mind, and now she's gotten me thinking in so many ways about how humans need to find themselves first, and how humans can be really selfish in a lot of ways. And there's so much more to the story than just what I'm trying to say. So I would highly recommend you go and listen to it and understand what I'm talking about. So yeah, You, Me and Tara, a great romance but also contemporary domestic fiction kind of book. Last but not least is a short story audiobook called Love at JLF, which is a Storytel original, and it's written by Yogesh Dashrath and narrated by Sukrit Sharma. This is just 9 minutes long, and it's so wholesome for a bookworm. It also pulls Storytel into the fray, and it talks about books and audiobooks, and it was such a pleasant surprise for me when I started listening to it. Raj is a huge Sonali Bendre fan. She's her celebrity crush of all time. So when he learns that Sonali Bendre is going to appear at a panel at JLF, at the Jaipur Lit Festival, then he has to do everything. Like, he works around his schedule, and he does everything in his power to make sure that he is there so that he could see his idol talking right in front of him. And this is even more heartening because Sonali Bendre has a book club of her own. It's called Sonali's Book Club. Okay, but here he meets Anika and they strike up a conversation. Sparks are obviously flying and recommendations are happening in both ways, and they have gotten talking. But now Sonali Bendre is set to come on stage, and here Anika wants to go somewhere. Now what will Raj do? Is he going to wait for his idol to come? Or is he going to go chase the real life that's right in front of him? This is a very sweet story, okay? And when you use books as a way of striking up a conversation and to actually have all those literary discussions and talk about preferences and all of that, it's always going to be a big hit with me. And this felt way too real to me, because when it comes to books I can talk for ages, but otherwise I will go back into my shell. So to see that books to be the center of the conversation, the reason why Raj and Anika are hitting it off, it was so nice to read for, especially for a bookworm like me. And yeah, Storytel also plays a huge part, so that's there. So that's probably why the demarcation between real life as well as what the life that dreams show you, it's very real, but also it can be very thin. And this is a cute little story that you would definitely enjoy. I would highly recommend that you listen to it. It's available on Storytel, obviously. So those were the 7 short story audiobooks that I had for you today. Which of these have you listened to? Which ones do you want to listen to? Will you be getting a Storytel subscription after watching this whole video? If you do, then the link to buying the subscription is in the description box below. I highly suggest and recommend that you do, because it's only $2.99 per month and you can listen to unlimited audiobooks that way. So yeah, please go ahead, get a Storytel subscription, and let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you like this video, please like it and share it to spread the word. And if you like my content and would like to see more from me, don't forget to hit subscribe and click on the bell icon beside the subscribe button to get notified as and when I post new videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, keep reading, keep watching, and add melodrama to your life.